Welcome to Business as a Magical Practice, where your business is the vehicle for your self-integration and soul evolution. My name is Sam Garcia, and I'm the founder of Dirty Alchemy Digital Marketing. And I'll be guiding you through how you can use your business as a spiritual practice and what magical businesses are doing to hit their goals and change the world. Together, we'll be relating the mystical to the world of business so that our work can unite spirit and matter, shadow and light, conscious and unconscious. Let's dive in.
Hi, welcome back to the podcast, Business as a Magical Practice. This is Sam Garcia here, your weekly loving host. And today we're talking about business as a magical practice. So this was actually a presentation that I gave on the Women's Ascension Summit a few weeks ago. And the host, Leah Vitali, was nice enough to give me access to the recording to share with you guys because I really loved how it went, and there's a lot of amazing stuff in here for you. So get excited, get ready, and let's jump in.
So our topic for today is business as a magical practice, and how to use your business as a playground for your soul's evolution. And today we'll be talking about what business as a magical practice even means, how business is an excellent medium for spiritual growth, common blocks magical people have in building their businesses, and practices we can use to catalyze business as a magical practice. So starting off with, what do I mean by business as a magical practice? As business owners, we hold the power. Our work is to integrate our conscious and unconscious, to heal ourselves, to clear karmic patterns, and decide on better beliefs. And all of this impacts our business. But you already know that, right? You already know that the work that you do on yourself directly impacts how your business runs, what manifests in your business, what manifests in your life. And obviously, our magical practices impact our business. Right? That's why you do the meditations. That's why you do the 40-day Kriya. That's why you do the existential kink, is because you know that it impacts it. But many miss that our businesses and work in the world impact our soul's evolution and spiritual growth. Business in and of itself as a magical practice. So most business owners know their spiritual practice impacts their business. That's why we have your morning routine, you do your meditation, you have that meditation practice, you listen to all the podcasts and read all the books, you're improving yourself. But business has been, in my experience, more profound in growth than any 40-day Kriya or soul reintegration session. It's in this extreme discomfort of saying my new higher prices on a sales call, or putting myself out there, doing all the things in not that much time, that has shown me magic and torn me apart to emerge as a more powerful version of myself. And maybe that's for you too, where you not only do you see your business as the thing that the work that you're doing in the world, how you're actually bringing home the bacon or the tofu, depending on your belief systems. But it's also a way for you to express your creativity and all these other things. So we can bring intentionality into our business as this magical practice. So why is business an excellent medium for spiritual growth? There are so many, but I'm going to go through 4 today, which is relationship dynamics, manifestation, shadow work, and hacking time and money. So starting off with relationship dynamics, it's interesting. I really should have looked into the full history of commerce and business and marketing, but we haven't always been in a capitalist economy and a consumeristic society, but for the most part, for most of our recent history, there's been business. There's been the marketplace. There's been a way where we as a society produce things and consume things from other people within our communities. So it goes really far back. And I talk about this a lot, that marketing is never business to business or business to consumer. It's always human to human. right? We're not like our like ideal avatar isn't women 35 to 55 who like dogs, right? It's me as a human deeply connecting and sharing my life with, sharing my time with another human who I want to deeply care about. So another side of this is your work tied in with your worth? Is your work tied in with your worth? I personally come from the Midwest. I was born and grew up in Michigan. And there's this overarching agreement in society that hard work is virtuous. You're a good person if you work hard. You are worthy if you work hard. And from moving out of the Midwest, there's another comment coming in. From moving out of the Midwest, like I've started to pull that out of myself. But for most of us in general, your work, especially if you own a business, especially if you care deeply about what you're putting into the world, it's connected with your worth. So we're working on this relationship dynamic of not only with other people, with other humans, but also the relationship dynamic with our business, which is a separate entity from us, which we'll talk about later. Another part of this is, do you have codependent tendencies, right? Like we aren't only codependent with relationships in our life, our spouse. It also pops up in how we interact with clients, how we interact with our actual business. Like, do you answer text messages that come in from clients at 11 p.m. when you're trying to wind down for the night, or during dinner? Do you have these set work hours that you really respect and honor? Or is it something where you are always at the beck and call of your clients? You're always at the beck and call of your business. So really, reason number one that business is an excellent medium for spiritual growth. The next one we're going to go into is manifestation. So business is such a black and white playground. At the end of the month, did you hit the revenue goal or not? Did you get the new client you wanted this week or not? There's so much tangible evidence whether or not your manifestation is happening. It's not just I want to feel more abundant. It's like you create your SMART goals. If you're familiar with that business term of like making them super measurable, and they're time dependent. So you have a date when they have to happen. So did it happen or not? Another reason why business is an excellent medium for spiritual growth is shadow work. You can see exactly what your subconscious is manifesting, but not only that, like what I talked about before, and like why I actually think that business is my magical practice, is because there's so much opportunity to feel discomfort if you're really committed to growing and evolving and creating these enormous impossible goals, quote unquote impossible goals, right? So if you've never done a sales call before and you have to do your first sales call selling your services or selling your product or whatever it is, it makes you want to barf, right? It's horrible unless you're like some unicorn who's like naturally good and comfortable with sales. For the vast majority of us, if you've never done any sales training, you're like, oh, fuck, this is horrible. I never want to do this again. But then, and you might feel like that for another 10 sales calls. And then you like start getting comfortable with it. And then in the process of that, not only are you doing the reps and sets, right? A lot of times we have to do reps and sets in our business. Just keep on doing that repetition so that you build the muscle and just feel comfortable with it. But during that entire time, we're also like, what fears are coming up? What am I feeling in my body? Like what worthiness issues are coming up? It's just such good EK fodder, such good shadow work fodder. And then another reason why business is an excellent medium for spiritual growth is you essentially just get to play with time and money all the time. So time is something our brains made up. Like actually, you look at quantum physics, time is just a perception that our brains have, not actually real. And money can be a representation of the value that we put out in the world, which starts with our own beliefs. So those are actually super fluid things. It's not that it only makes sense for me to make $50,000 this year because of X, Y, and Z. When you own your own business, There is no ceiling for income at all. That's why we see life coaches building empires in less than 10 years that make $25 million in revenue annually, right? There's no ceiling. It's not this hard and fast reality. It's fluid. And then time is the exact same way, right? There's a lot of drama that comes up in doing things that are uncomfortable. And we're just talking about all the uncomfortable things you have to do with your business. You doing your first Instagram live, you hosting your first summit, you starting a podcast, you just writing something vulnerable on Instagram. Like all of these things, all of these actual actions that we have to do within our business, like for the most part, most of them don't take that much time. They really don't. Like a lot of things can happen in 20 minutes. You can respond to that like uncomfortable email in probably 60 seconds, but we're thinking about it for 2 whole weeks, mulling it over in the background for 2 whole weeks. So there's just so much there to work on and master time and money. So through our businesses, we get to play with these societal definitions and blur lines and quantum leap. So what are common blocks magical people have in building their businesses? Right? We already started to go through these. They've already started coming up. You probably already know and are already working on these. So the witch wound. The witch wound is so common. I mean, if you're attending the Women's Ascension Summit, you're obviously attracted to spirituality and self-help on some level, or else you wouldn't have signed up for this. So you're probably, if you own a business and you have a spiritual business in the world, you're trying to change the world, the witch wound is probably going to come up. That fear of if I'm too loud, if a certain part of me is going to be seen, I will be burned at the stake. And I actually learned this morning from lovely EK certified coach, Helena Grant. She was like, oh, actually they've proven through epigenetics that, it goes back, those sorts of wounds go back 14 generations, like scientifically proven 14 generations. I mean, that's like at least 500 years. There were literally witch burning in the 1500s. There was witch burning happening. So we, on a genetic DNA level, we hold that, we've carried that forward. So working through that is so important, like facing that, so important. Because a part of growing a business is being willing to be seen. Maybe you do not want to be the personal brand where you have thousands of followers and your face is plastered everywhere. Maybe that's not for you, but you're still going to have to deeply, deeply connect with your clients, with the people that you're, with prospects, with potential clients. And that requires all of you to be seen. We'll kind of go into that a little bit later. So another common block for magical people in building their business is being consumed. Being consumed. So when we're exchanging time for money, if you're in the services business, or your brilliance for money, if you're selling in digital products, there's an aspect of you that is being consumed. So someone is giving you money in exchange for consuming parts of your life. Also comes up with, are you willing to be a slave? Are you willing on some level to be a slave to your clients? Because they've paid you. Like, I mean, do you feel that viscerally in your body when I say that? It's like such good spiritual work to dive into. And on that level, like money is not a neutral energy. You look at the history. A lot of people in the spirituality space love saying that money is a neutral energy, but if you actually look at the history of money, I forget what the name of the book is, but the literal birth of money is around debt. It was a way to track debt, which is the physical manifestation of resentment. So you, as a highly sensitive spiritual person, a block might be you feel that on some level. You feel that you don't want to play with that because it's not a neutral energy. There's something dark in there. So how willing are you to feel that? Oh yeah. Wow, my head is exploding right now. Love hearing that. Okay. Another one is the more society. We can, we live in a capitalistic society. Our economy is a capitalistic economy, which essentially plays a lot with supply and demand. And so the engine moving forward is trying to get you to buy more things. That's how people keep making money, how a lot of businesses keep making money. And we can sense that this is sapping us from our connection to life, ourselves, and each other. Right? Like our brain literally gets, I don't know if it's dopamine hits, some pleasurable hormone is released in your brain when we purchase something. Like it actually is when we acquire something, our brain is given rewards. So, I mean, that's why there's retail therapy, quote unquote, retail therapy. There's something going on in our brains. But as we actually start consuming more, and I mean, we see the ripples out of our consumeristic society and our disconnection from nature, like landfills build up, like the fact that by 2025, there's going to be more trash in the ocean than there will be fish. By 2025, that is 4 years from now. I mean, and also the fact that the diseases of despair are now causing the Western world's life expectancy to go down. We are like it used to be, the life expectancy generation by generation was going up. It was totally going up because of Western medicine, right? In a lot of ways, but now it's going down because of diseases of despair. And I'm talking about anxiety. I'm talking about depression. I'm talking about people committing suicide. Like that's causing death and our life expectancy to go down. And why is that? Because we're losing connection. We're losing connection with ourselves. We're losing connections with nature. We're losing connection with each other. Because yes, we can like all the people and follow all the people on Instagram, but that's very, very different than going out to dinner, sharing a glass of wine and having a deep conversation, exposing vulnerable parts of yourself, feeling the range of emotion that comes with actual human contact. Okay. So that's an actual block. Like feeling that being a part of the capitalistic economy, being a part of consumerism is a bad thing. I mean, we see it. That can actually be a block. So how do we actually deal with that? Like realizing that the business that you do in the world is making the world better, getting really clear on how that is, getting really clear on how your business, how your work in the world is changing the world. Because it is. If you're a heart-centered person, it is. And you can just make your bit go like double down on that. We need it. We need it so bad right now. Okay, and the last one for a common block is actually around being paid well for our gifts. Because again, I mentioned I'm from the Midwest. Working hard means I'm doing good work. A lot of us think that we should be paid the most for things that suck. If it's hard to do, if we don't enjoy doing it, we should be paid well for it. Well, you should actually be paying your highest amount when you're in your zone of genius. When you're doing the things in the world that feels effortless, easy, you're excellent at it. You feel energized by it. That's what you should actually be paid the most for. You should be spending 90% of your working hours in your zone of genius. Yeah. Can you let go? Can you let go of this idea that the more time it takes, the more I should be paid? The harder it is, the more I should be paid? What if the things that come the most natural to me is the most I should be paid? So some things to play with in your brains, in your journal. I would love to know, are you affected by any of these? And if you're watching the replay, I'd also want to know, I'll come back to the comments. I want to hear, which ones are you affected by? Are you affected by the witch wound, being afraid to be seen? Are you affected by the block of being afraid of being consumed, being a slave to clients? That money is not a neutral energy and you feel funky about it? Or you don't want to feed into the more culture, or not charging the most for the things that come easy to you. So business is a key element in radically changing the world. As we discussed, we live in a capitalistic society. You know what that means? A part of our economy is based off of supply and demand. Supply follows demand, demand follows supply. If more people want it, we have to make more of those things. If we make too much of that things, the marketing powers that be will find out an amazing angle to get people to want more of it. Hello, high fructose corn syrup. But it also means that we, as the marketers of our own business, can also do these things for the power of good. It's actually why I got into marketing, because I heard about how much Monsanto and Coca-Cola spent on advertising and marketing, like in the billions of dollars. And I was like, there needs to be way more money for the good people. This marketing is a potent tool. Marketing is such a potent tool. It's how we influence people. We need to be getting the same level of great marketing that Coca-Cola and Monsanto gets into the hands of people who are radically changing the world in a different way. So side note there, sorry guys. So where were we? We were talking about supply and demand. So there's an amazing quote, you've probably heard about it, from Henry Ford. If I asked people what they wanted, they would have told me a faster horse. I might be butchering this quote, but that's the essence of it. If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have asked for a faster horse. Henry Ford created the automobile, right? Like, this is the potential in all of us. You are brilliant. You have a genius within you. You are birthed onto this plane at this fucked up time in history in order to change the world, right? What is your car? What is the thing that where you start turning on the innovation in your brain and understanding the true needs and desires of people in the world and meeting them in an innovative, insane, next level way, right? Like, I mean, we all need more fulfillment. We're all looking for more meaning. We're all looking for more connection. And instead of like social media platforms, like hacking our brain's need for connection by like the diet version of connection through social media, like how can you give that? How can you give like the true meaning, the true needs, the true like things that have to happen in the world by whatever that spark is in you? I have my own spark. I'm sure you have your own spark of like what you're here to do. Okay, it's also about meeting people where they're at. So because we're in a capitalistic society, because people want to spend money, people love spending money. We all love spending money on the things that we love, right? What can you create that is of value, that is life-changing, that is world-changing, that is reality-quaking, that people would want to spend money on? How can you explain it to them in a way they want to spend money on? Then suddenly you're hacking the supply and demand teeter-totter, right? You're creating something that people can demand, and it's going to change the world through them wanting it. Well, I didn't expect to spend that much time on that topic. Oh, we're good. Okay, so this is one of my favorite explanations of this point, or the underlying of this point. So this is from Jason Miller's Financial Sorcery. It's on money magic. It's on working with Jupiter. And I am deep in the environmental movement. I deeply want to create change in that element of the world. And there's so many parallels behind environmental people hating money or thinking that capitalism is taking down the world, and spiritual people hating money, and spiritual people think that capitalism is taking down the world, right? Okay, so this quote is going to address that. Certainly since the counterculture hippie movement of the 1960s and 70s, anti-materialism has been commonplace among witches and magicians. It is a noble tactic, and one that really works if you do it wholeheartedly. The problem is that most people do not do it wholeheartedly. If you're going to do it, then you really need to do it. There are only two ways this has been a successful approach: become a monk or nun, or become a homeless wanderer. Anything short of this is just kidding yourself. Thinking that merely working at a coffee shop or not wearing a suit is a non-materialistic lifestyle is just the worst of both worlds. If we cannot serve money and we cannot avoid money, that really leaves only one option: to master it. And what a perfect playground of mastery in business. Business is perfect place to master money. Okay? Let me know if this is like connecting with people. Because when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, this like speaks to everything that I felt on a subconscious level of like this like, but I feel like money and capitalism is like taking down the world. And then like, if you're not like living off grid in your own house that you built, like eating only food that you grow, but instead you're just living in poverty and saying that that is better than living in capitalism, it's just not true. It's just not true. Okay. Okay. So moving on to practices we can use to catalyze business as a magical practice. And we'll go through these, but a quick overview: connecting with the soul of your business, setting clear goals, visioning forward, deciding your identity, and mixing magic with action. So connecting with the soul of your business. So I love talking about this. No matter what stage you're at in your business is a separate entity than you. Even if you are a personal brand where your face is slathered all over your Instagram account, your business is a separate entity than you. And this is good news. This is really great news, because you are a human in a meat suit. While we have infinite levels of power, infinite levels of potential, we're still a human in a meat suit. There are limitations with that. But your business is a separate entity than you, like truly has endless potential and endless growth, right? It is also something we can be an allyship with. It can be our partner. It can be our inspiration. So, and I mean, if you're a magical person, if you work with Venus, if you work with the flower essences, if you work with whatever, like you're working with a separate entity. Like you can do all of that sort of work with the entity that is your business. You can commune with it. You can get advice from it. It'll probably like if you like, and I have a meditation on the podcast, episode 24, business as a magical practice. If you haven't done this before and you, what am I saying? If you haven't done this before, you haven't met the soul of your business, you can do this guided meditation and meet the soul of your business. Then once you know it, or like just go into meditation and like invite in the soul of your business, meet it, and realize like this is a lifelong or like career-long relationship that you're building. It is super wise and it has a much bigger vision of the future than you do. It is like you might not even realize what sort of like the level of empire that you're building. So definitely recommend. So the next one is for practices we can use to catalyze business as a magical practice is setting clear goals. We talked about this in the beginning, right? This black and white playground of like, I set a goal, I want to make X amount of dollars by the end of the month. When the end of the month comes, did it happen or did it not? Did you manifest that reality or did you not? And how are you treating yourself if you don't manifest it? If you don't hit your goal, are you saying that you're unworthy and you should just die and that you're a total failure and you should blow up your business, put it through the paper shredder? Like, I mean, side note, I truly, truly believe that are willing to be uncomfortable and take risks and fail as a business owner will dictate how quickly you'll grow. How willing you are to feel the discomfort of failure, to feel the discomfort of being seen, to feel the discomfort of whatever, like not hitting a goal. Your willingness to do that over and over and over again is 100% directly related to how quickly you'll grow. And a part of that is to not be mean to yourself when you fail, quote unquote fail. is to be like, to have a process and work with your brain and work with your mind and work with your body when you don't hit a goal. It's like, don't be a jerk to yourself. So setting goals, like if you want great EK fodder, great shadow work fodder, actually set a goal of revenue for this month. So many of us don't, because we're terrified of not hitting it, because we're mean to ourselves. So just stop being mean to yourself when you set big goals and you don't hit them. Okay, another one for catalyzing business as a magical practice is visioning forward, right? Look forward. You do this with the soul of your business. Go into meditation with the soul of your business and vision forward 1 year. Vision forward 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. How old will you be at that point? Where is your business at? And this is like that gray area of like, are we divining the future or are we creating the future? Are we seeing what is to come, or are we deciding what's to come in the future? And it's important to design your business with a bigger why in mind. So when you are actually starting off in your business, we covered our business as a separate entity, but it is absolutely valid and legitimate to start a business because you want to take care of yourself, because you want to make enough money to meet your basic needs, to support your family. That is an absolutely valid and legitimate reason to start a business. However, if you don't pull out a bigger why when you're creating your business or as you're growing your business, you might hit a point where you're at this certain level of sustainability, like you're making enough money as you want to make, like you have it, like I've heard people say it's like $250,000 household income. I don't know how true that is, because we all live in different parts of the world and different states. But when you hit a certain level of sustainability of income, where there's like, you're like totally happy, you're totally fine, suddenly the money doesn't really matter. Like making more money doesn't really matter. There's not that much fuel. You don't have the exact same fuel as you did when you're trying to make ends meet. That's why having a why in mind, having a bigger why, a bigger mission is important to pull you out of that. So you see a lot of businesses starting to plateau at a certain income level. It's because they get to an existential crisis point. The existential crisis of why would I be giving more time or more energy to something when I really don't want it? Like, I don't care about it growing anymore. It's like fine as it is. If you have a bigger why, a bigger mission, then you're actually able to grow faster because there's more fuel, and you won't actually hit that existential crisis point. Like, I want to help, I want to donate $1 million to planting trees in Costa Rica so that we can mitigate climate change. I need to make a lot of money in order to donate $1 million. Or I want to help 1,000 women get their sex life amazing. You know, like what is the mission that like you feel in your core that you really care about and lights a fire within you? If you can just do that in the beginning, you're not going to hit that existential crisis point of like, I don't really care about growing it anymore. It's also fine to have a lifestyle business that's just funding other things. That's totally fine too. But if you have a business that is like spiritually motivated, or you feel like it's a part of your soul gift to the world, having that larger why beyond yourself, beyond just creative expression, is really important. Okay. So a recent survey from the Energy Project on why many people hate their jobs. The survey, which reached more than 12,000 employees across a broad range of companies and industries, found that 50% lack a level of meaning and significance at work. Employees who derive meaning from their work are more than 3 times as likely to stay with their organizations. You are an employee of your business, so make sure you're factoring meaning into what you do, or else it'll be difficult to stay with it. 3 times less likely, apparently, when the real shit gets stirred up, when it starts getting hard. Okay. Okay, moving on to deciding your identity in relation to what practices we can use to catalyze business as a magical practice. So I find identity work so powerful, especially with the next point, which is hacking time and money. With deciding your identity and with being visible within your business, we are 100% in control of who we want to be in the world. If we look forward 3 years and be like, I want to be this person and that person, and I want to do this, and I want to wear these kinds of clothes, and I want to like give off this energy, like that's something that we can start embodying now. And through the action of actually embodying that in our businesses, being visible on the internet in that way, talking in relationship with clients, in relationship with our team, in relationship with the people in our lives. I mean, you becoming who you actually want to be happens that much faster. And I'm not actually saying there's anything wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. I'm saying like you being the person you truly want to be from like this unblocked level, not like I want to be Rainbow Barbie and I'm too fat, too dumb, too whatever. Like you're not too anything. Like you just settling into the truth that you are magnificent as you are, and then moving into now who do I want to be? Like incredibly powerful work. Okay. Right now, next one is mixing magic with action. So when I got into spirituality, when I was 21, I like read a Gabby Bernstein book and like started like doing affirmations, and like lo and behold, nothing happened. Nothing against Gabby Bernstein. I think she's a wonderful, wonderful woman who's doing amazing things in the world. But just doing rituals and spell work and just doing affirmations, just doing our magical and spiritual practices are often not enough. We actually need to be merging the inspiration and the opportunities that come up through our magical practices with actual action in our lives, right? If we're inspired in a meditation to start a podcast, we actually need to go out and start the podcast. If someone reaches out to you to be on a summit, and you've been doing all of this work around opportunity and like opening doors to opportunities, you have to actually go and prepare a presentation and do well on the summit. Right? So business is this epic ground to mix magic and action, to have our magical practices fueled by the action in our businesses. And I see one question in here. If anyone else has any more questions, put them in. Question is, how do you recommend overcoming the witch wound? And especially when you feel prone to perfectionism, that you're always evolving. Okay, this feels like 3 questions in one. Okay, starting with, how do you recommend overcoming the witch wound? I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go about it. I am particularly partial to exposure therapy, just doing uncomfortable things continually. I've built up a nervous system for it. I have a background in anxiety and depression, so I'm very sensitive to too much stress, and I am prone to mental spirals. But I'm aware of them, so I know where my cutoff point is, right? I can feel it in my body when I'm about to go too far and get too uncomfortable. Like I carry a background fear of falling back into depression, and anyone who has experienced depression will know what I'm talking about. So exposure therapy, just like being visible again and again and realizing, oh, I didn't die. Do the IGTV. Oh, I didn't die. Create the YouTube video. Oh, I didn't die. Go talk on the summit. Oh, I didn't die. Like a lot of the things that really we have a lot of fear around and freak out about, like they're not going to kill us. They're programmed into our brain because of our evolution, where like if we picked the wrong cave, we actually would die. There was a lion in there, right? If we said the wrong thing and we were labeled a witch, we actually could die. That, for the most part, isn't the case anymore. Like we can lose followers. People can hate us if we say things that are against their belief system, but we don't die. So, I mean, again, what we talked a lot about today is like being in discomfort. If you're familiar with the existential kink work, like being there in high sensation and just doing it over and over again and working that muscle and practicing that. If there's any follow-up questions to that specifically, please put them in the chat or Leah can read them. When you feel prone to perfectionism, this feels like a different point to me. Perfectionism is usually a crutch for us not to feel uncomfortable. For the there's a quote from, I don't know the quote. There's a concept from Brooke Castillo, who runs the Life Coach School, of like a story around how she's really committed to doing B+ work, actually B- work, right? It's this idea that actually, she has a multiple 8-figure business, super successful, and she's very committed to, I forget if it's B+ or B- work, but this idea that you have to put it out there. It's more important to get it done and put it out there and move forward than it is to actually be perfect, because nothing can ever be perfect. If you are prone to perfectionism, just realize that it's an excuse. Realize how you're talking to yourself in those moments. Like, I also consider myself a perfectionist in some regard. I have 3 planets in Virgo, like comes with the territory. And usually it's not actually about perfectionism, but it's about the mean thoughts we're having in our heads about ourselves. This isn't good enough. You're not good enough. What will they think of me? What will they say to me? When going back to your genius, like you have genius to put out into the world. Yes, there's always going to be people smarter than us. Yes, there's always going to be people that are better than us in certain capacities, but we have a unique genius. And we're also like, there are so many people you're like 3 steps ahead of. If you just learned something and you're not like the go-to expert on the thing, like I see this a lot of like, oh, but there's already people talking about money mindset. There are already people talking about, there are already Reiki masters. There are already people selling beautiful journals. Like, there's already people doing it. So I'm not going to do it. I'm not good enough to do it. They're doing it better. They're more experienced. When there's this huge pool of people who would be deeply served by you doing it also, and your unique voice in it is actually needed. What do you, when you're always evolving? So that's definitely like different than perfectionism. So how do you overcome the witch wound when you feel like you're always evolving? I'm assuming that this question is around like, you're afraid to put yourself out there in this way because you feel like 6 months from now, you're going to be a completely different person. That's okay. Like I look at like some of the people who've really inspired me on the internet, mentors and clients and teachers. And if I followed them for 5 years and I think about them 5 years from now, they're talking about completely different things. Most of them are talking about completely different things, or there's a completely different flavor of things than they are now. So we give other people so much more permission to change than we do ourselves. So then we don't take action because like, and I totally resonate. I've totally had these exact same fears around like, oh, I don't want to go hard with the digital marketing agency, because what if I can be really passionate about things. So like I get obsessed with things. So if I have this, if I'm like 100% going hard and visible as this digital marketing agency, I'm so afraid that then a year later, I'll want to do something completely different. And people will think that I'm irresponsible, or I'm, what are some words I've actually thought around this? Irresponsible, I'm, I don't know, not committed. I'm a silly little girl who doesn't know what she wants, like stuff like that. How good is that? When really, like, we give so many other people to have to be able to evolve. And I mean, my business has evolved. Everyone's business I know has evolved. And like, you can have different offerings. You can start specializing in different things. The difference is, like, is it you actually evolving, or is it you having fears coming up, or like being uncommitted, not uncommitted, but not giving something a valid choice. Like you see a lot of people switching niches around, whether that's in the coaching industry or like marketing agencies switching niches, like service-based businesses switching niches. And it can be because there's like a genuine internal desire to work with someone different, and you feel like you're being guided by the soul of your business, by your internal guidance system to work with these other people. Or is it because you feel like it's not working? So you need to change. You need to change what's externally happening, and that'll change what's not working. And that's rarely the case. I hope that makes sense.
No, I feel you. And we actually just got a question in the chat as you were talking, well, as I mentioned the 5 wounds, about how to heal them. So I don't know if that's like too big of a can of worms to go down, or the rabbit hole, but this person commenting, like, I just want it to be easy. I want the magic potion, the magic pill, so is there a practice? Is there I mean, I know for me, existential kink is for sure a very big one. But what else do you recommend? What are some tools or strategies that people do to try to address the wounds?
I mean, there's a gazillion. There are a gazillion strategies. Getting them all out of yourself is a really great practice. If you want to work through these wounds one by one, like money, there's a lot in the undercurrent of money. If you can just journal out all of your negative experiences with money and memories from childhood around money and things that were said, like, and then work through them and like forgive them, like go back and forgive them and be like, I'm choosing to believe something different now. And now it's my job to find proof of this. If I can't find proof of it in my current life, I need to go look for expanders, look for examples from other people doing it, and steal their beliefs. Like, that's really powerful. That's a really easy, straightforward one that like doesn't require, not really easy. It's like kind of time consuming, like going through all of your memories, but like it's fairly straightforward. I'm looking through the blocks really quickly. Zone of genius one, like that's super, like if you can identify the parts of your okay, what's the actual block here? The actual block around being paid well for your zone of genius is like, I mean, if we're talking about you can do like the both sides of it, of like work with the shadow and work with the mindset side of it. So if you wanted to work with the shadow of like getting off on being a slave, being the slave to your clients, getting off on how much you love that it's actually hard. Like, this is so hard, and that makes it feel worth it. And like going through the shadow side of it. And then on the other side, it's like, what beliefs are you actually choosing? Hypnosis or guided meditations are great because we can kind of access more of the subconscious mind, versus with kind of affirmations and beliefs and doing stuff with the conscious mind. It's like a lot of repetition because you're like trying to get a groove, a neural pathway groove, where if you're working more with the subconscious, and like hypnosis is one of those ways, like deep relaxation is one of those ways. But like deciding which beliefs you actually want to have, you can decide. I'm Gemini rising, like everything is true. I've always known that everything is true. I can find proof for anything. Like, it's all true. So what do you actually want to, like, what rules do you want to make for your reality? What do you want to decide to be true? So, and then I'm just trying to, like, it's a big question. So I'm like trying to like kind of, I'm like I'm giving some answers, but like you'll actually have to like go and do the work. For the more culture one, like really driving into how, like connecting to how your business is changing the world. And if you don't feel like your business is changing the world, okay, what changes are you going to make so that your business is aligned with your values? It doesn't mean giving away all your money. Right? It often means like you are positively impacting your clients and your customers, and you're changing the like fabric of communication. Like, I mean, if you haven't heard like the idea that like what am I trying to say? Like the power of the word, and like you look with that with spelling and spells, like we've always known that words are super powerful, and that's why marketing is incredibly powerful. Like you can actually, like, not even for clients, just with your audience, just with like the people who see your work, through your marketing, you can change the conversation of the culture, which changes the world. So, I mean, like connecting in with stuff with that, like that would address the more one. Money is not a neutral energy. I mean, this is that's like shadow work of like being fine with like feeling really uncomfortable emotions, like fine with like feeling resentment, fine with feeling like a predator. Ooh, how good is that? Fine with being consumed, fine with being a slave. Like we need to be super comfortable with all of the emotions of the entire spectrum. Okay, that's a great overview. Daniela, if you have follow-up questions, like, I mean, okay, you said you want to, Danielle, if you can give a little bit more context of where you are at in your business and what your business is, like, I would love to like address it specifically. But when you say I want a potion, I want it to be easy, like for beginner businesses, working on your ability to sell, to do sales calls, like actually take trainings in this. This is a skill that you can develop. So there's this absolute skill behind doing sales calls and writing sales copy. And then there's the emotional side of it, of like, you have to like believe that your offer is worth that amount of money. And like there is that emotional side of it, but there's a huge skill set in sales.
So amazing. Sam, thank you so much for being here. Like truly, it's an honor. It's a huge honor to associate with you and just to have had you join us for this. And I'm excited for all of the future ripple effects and all of the potential collaborations and co-creations and just to get to continue to work with you. So thank you for sharing your magic and your gifts here. Thank you so much, Sam.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. So excited to connect with you.